Room quick with some introductions. Start with Mr. Dooms.
Nick Dooms, Assistant City Engineer.
Cody Knutson, Public Works Supervisor.
Madeline Palmquist, District 8, and
I'm Dennis Pollock, Alderman at 6, filling in for a member that's absent.
Matt Zacher, Mayor.
All right, that's everyone. So the meeting has been called to order. First item of business is review the Engineering and Street Department monthly activity report. Cody, would you like to kick us off with the street report?
Yeah, thank you. Recap in August, as you can see on your sheets there, the garbage and recycling is staying pretty consistent to where we were at in 2023. A little bit more on garbage tonnage and actually a little bit less on recycling tonnage. So again, right in line with where we've been. Construction-wise, Lincoln Street from Peach Street to Riverview Expressway, we have finished with the restoration. As many of you probably have seen, the grass is growing pretty nice. We built some retaining walls along some of the new sidewalk that we had put in to help with shaping yards and things like that. Actually, paving for the last remainder of that was supposed to take place today, but obviously with the weather, the rain that came through, we are pushed back on that. So latest info on that is they'll be coming in tomorrow morning, and hopefully the paver will be showing up midday or first thing Saturday to finish that last stretch. 9th Street from Chestnut to Peach, we removed asphalt, curb and gutter, and sidewalk, and installed 1,225 feet of 6-inch water main and ran 32 services. We ran 675 feet of 8-inch sanitary main, installed and completed 27 services and 1 manhole. And we have subgraded and placed 7 inches of road base over the entire project length. And latest update on that is the contractor has come in, all curb is in, and we have started to prep for them to come in and do flat work. I think they were there today, and they'll be pouring some tomorrow, weather permitting. Wiley Street from 8th to 12th, we got started on removals on Tuesday. That project's going along very nicely. They will continue on that next week, installing sanitary. Some of our street maintenance activities, we assisted wastewater with loading out some of the Class A sludge off the drying bed. We continued screening compost and black dirt for our site restoration projects. Mowed the right-of-ways, the city pit, and the compost sites. We also string trimmed the downtown area one more time before most of our summer help left us for the season. Fixed 6 catch basins with ring and pipe failures and replaced the curb and patched the asphalt. We assisted Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools with seeding of their new school playground projects at various schools throughout the community here. We hydro-seeded, and those are coming up very nicely as well. We hauled chips to the wash plant, and then also have now got them washed and brought back from our chip sealing project this year. And we finished in graded alley, prepped for asphalt from 14th Avenue South to 15th Avenue South, and then south to Alton Street. That project is completed. We shouldered it. Turned out very nice. Added gravel shoulders to our bike trail patches that we put in earlier in the year. We made it up there and put in some crushed asphalt to have a shoulder on it before winter. And we swept the chip sealed area, picking up all the loose stone that hadn't embedded. This was our second time through our chip seal area. We will most likely go through that one more time before winter to pick up any remaining chips, like I said, that haven't embedded into the new road structure. Paint and signs, removed existing signs on 9th Street construction areas and Wiley Street, installed new signs on Lincoln Street project, completed pavement marking on Lincoln Street, and painted white edge line throughout the city. The shop has continued to do routine service work on our fleet trucks, changed mower blades on lawnmowers weekly, repaired and replaced packing cylinders on one of our garbage trucks, took delivery of half-ton pickups and put those into service, replaced pusher axle airbag on quad axle dump truck. looking forward to next month, October 22nd. We have Wisconsin Saltweiss is an organization that is going to, chose us to come in and host a equipment open house. Wisconsin Saltweiss is an organization that focuses on salt consumption and ways to save salt. So I've been to one of these in the past, and a bunch of other municipalities come in, bring in the latest and greatest equipment that they have, and it's kind of a nice time to talk with them guys about their best practices on different ways to save salt. So looking forward to that. With that, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Any questions or comments for Cody?
Cody, I have a question about construction projects and starting construction projects. Do we typically send letters to the people who live on the roads before we start a construction project?
Yes, I believe that engineering would be able to answer that a little bit better, but yes, a pre-construction letter is sent to them.
Thank you.
Yeah, we send letters, we have a pre-construction meeting, walkthrough with all the residents before we do any digging at all, just to give them some of the basics of construction. And then as the project goes on, block by block, as we're ripping stuff up, we will also leave letters with them, letting them know that they might be blocked out of their driveway or what have you. So it's kind of an ongoing process through the project.
Thank you.
Anything else for Cody? All right, we'll move on to engineering. Go ahead, Nick.
So on the engineering side of things, Cody touched on the construction. Regarding design, we've got a pretty good jump on design. 14th Avenue from West Grand to Fremont, McKinley from 8th Avenue to 14th Avenue, and Harrison Street from 7th Avenue to 9th Avenue. We've got a very solid jump on those projects, and we're kind of tweaking those as we go forward into the fall and early winter here. Plover Street, we have not started yet. That project goes from First Street to Apricot. We recently finished the survey on that, so have not started design yet, but we'll be starting that within the next couple weeks here. Those projects we're looking at trying to have 90% design done by New Year's, and maybe if it is complete, that would be great too. East Jackson Street from the bridge to Grand. That project, we originally slated at 2025. At this point, it's looking like it's going to get pushed off to 2026, given some of the complexities of the project with real estate acquisition possibly, and just some extra time with the conceptual side of things with intersection layout and trail location and all those things. So that we're looking at possibly 2026. The library entrance, we sent a request for a proposal to Pember, who is our concrete contractor for the pickleball courts, and they came back with a proposal. That proposal has been approved, and so we are working through the paperwork and trying to get that all lined up. Sounds like they can come in first week of October, so we're trying to finalize all the paperwork and make sure that happens in early October before the weather gets too cold to be doing concrete work. And just to, I guess, just to give everybody an update, so that project is, not sure who knows about it and who doesn't, but that is mainly a sidewalk replacement project. We'll be adding a little bit of sidewalk by the entrance on the north side of the building, and we're going to be working on the threshold by the building is a little beat up, so we're doing some threshold repair work there as well. So, like I said, that work we're hoping to get started here in a few weeks here. And the Mead pickleball courts, that's been kind of an ongoing project. We just had the binder course, so the bottom course of asphalt for the courts was poured. And we also have American Fence in there right now doing the perimeter fencing, the posts for the perimeter fencing, and also the posts for the pickleball, the tennis nets. So that work is being done today, and maybe we'll get done tomorrow is kind of the hope with that. When that's done, we'll have American Asphalt come in and pave the surface course on the court, and then we'll have Pembroke will come back and do the concrete sidewalk on the east side of the project. So those things will all happen, and then eventually the hope is very soon here to get the court surfacing, the acrylic court surfacing done as well. The survey work for engineering department, so Plover Street, we just wrapped that up for survey work. 3rd Street, north of Spring, and Second Street north of Spring, we've have not started those. There'll be a big push to get that started in the next couple weeks here. And also 13th Avenue is kind of a larger project from West Grand, about 5 blocks to the north there. So those projects are kind of on our, we're focusing on to try to get those wrapped up before the snow flies. The rail notification, the predictive mobility project, there was kind of a holdup with that project, with project funding from what I understand. But it sounds like that's all been straightened out at the federal level and the state level. So our next steps are working on plans and specifications for the project. And we have a deadline of October 1st with the DOT to get that, to keep that ball rolling. So. And then one last thing to touch on, We Energies, the gas main rehab project on the Grand Avenue Bridge. That project, yesterday, the pipe rehab contractor finished up their work, and so now we're looking at just taking down the scaffolding at this point, which will take a few days. So that work, I think we're looking at early to mid next week, being done with that. So I think that's all I got for engineering.
Questions or comments for Nick? Go ahead, Mr. Zacher.
If you could just clarify, Nick, as to when, because I know we have the Grand Affair going on this weekend, if you can clarify for that bridge for the people what the plan is for that. Thanks.
Sure. Yep. So there shouldn't be any interference with any of that. Their scaffolding will not be all removed. A good portion of it should be removed by the weekend, and the remainder that's left sticks out maybe a foot into this into the sidewalk. So we'll have either cones or drums lined up there just to keep people away from it. But no, the whole road will be open, and yeah, we've been looking and coordinating that to make sure that that wasn't going to be an issue with, I believe, the people showcase their cars on the bridge. So there shouldn't be any interference with any of that.
Anyone else? Couple things for me. It's good to hear that predictive mobility project is moving forward, and we do have some newer council members. So just to clarify on this project, it's a advanced warning system that's going to be installed on our rail systems, particularly I think it's just West Grand for the time being, that particular rail system, to help notify traffic. And it can send out notifications to, say, like the PD or the FD, letting them know of a train and where or in what direction it's heading and what crossings might be open. Because as some of you may know, when we did the study for our blocked railroad crossings, I think the number was around 90% of the time there was an alternate route that could be taken. So looking forward to this project kicking off. There is also a mobile app that I think you can use. That can send you notifications as well, so it'll be great to see that put into place. Also, the library project, just want to clarify, the project will be funded through the library. It wouldn't be a city project per se, so just want to make sure everybody understood that as well. So, all right, let's move on. Item 3 is review and consider modifying the parking along Dale Street between 6th Street South and the East Cul-de-sac at 6th Street South between Dale Street and Dewey Street. Nick?
So a couple weeks ago, we received a request from NNN Auto to prohibit parking on Dale Street and possibly 6th Street in front of their business. We did review the referral and the parking ordinance. But with that being said, maybe I'll have Nathan, if you want to come up and speak on a little more of the specifics of what you're requesting.
Yeah, I'll recognize you. Go ahead and make sure the light on the mic is on, the green light. State your name and address, please.
Hello, I am Nathan Flinders, part owner of NNN Auto Outlet. So we wrote this committee referral. Basically, we moved to the city limits in 2022. Over the past year or two, we've improved the location. We put a parking lot in just over a year ago. We have had some issues with vehicles parking in front of all of our product for sale. Being a car dealership, obviously, it is basically the vehicles on the lot. There's nothing inside of the showroom. So all of the vehicles that park in front, they obviously do not help with business because it blocks it. It also affects when we get vehicles delivered with car trailers. I mean, sometimes they're 2-3 place car trailers, and these vehicles are parked along the side of the roads. We obviously, they can't get through, so.
Any questions? Go ahead, Mayor Zacher.
Are you able to tell why though, like, it's a kind of an odd area there, so they're there specifically for something. Do you know what that is?
So all of the vehicles that park there are employees of Steve's Plumbing and Heating. So what happened is before we bought the building, they all parked on the land where we currently are. They had the option to buy it, and they chose not to. I know I've looked at, they only have 6 parking stalls in front of their building. I know even some of their box trucks right now are basically touching the sidewalk. So they basically line all of 6th Street, I want to say it is, facing the Quick Trip exit. So they're lined up there. I know there's already an ordinance that they can't park there from, I want to say 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. I know that they get to work before then, so they're already parked there before. There's obviously the detour going on right now with all the work that's going on over there, so a lot of people have been coming out of there, which obviously has affected it a little more. I've talked to Steve over at Steve's Plumbing. I don't know what happened, but basically they're kind of doing it to be petty to us.
Thank you. Or is there another area that would be more conducive for them to park if they were more understanding?
So they were parking on the side of the street before on 6th Street. We have some grass area that we were trying to grow over there. They kept parking on it. I kindly asked them if they could just try not to park on it. I get if customers park on there, that's totally fine. But when they're showing up for their full day, when they're parking on it, it's blocking the vehicles. So with Quick Trip and us being there, they basically don't have much room. I know they had talked or that they bought some other land that they wanted to move to, but I don't know how long that'll take.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And appreciate your job on the business. Good
I
job.
appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything further to add there, Nick?
Yeah, so we did look at the kind of the referral, and yeah, it looks like for the most part, the ordinances that you're calling out look correct. There's no parking at the cul-de-sac on Dale Street on the north side. It is 3 a.m., I believe, till 8 a.m. on the east side of 6th Street, and that goes from Dale to Dewey. And then there's one other one I think you called out, but I think that's on the north side of Dewey Street, which I guess wouldn't apply. But from what I'm guessing, most of the so like you said, Steve's Plumbing parks along 6th Street to some degree, but I'm guessing a lot of those vehicles are Quick Trip employees. I guess I'm not sure. We haven't had a chance to interview anybody over at Quick Trip, but I don't know if that's where a lot of that, I mean, it's pretty stacked with vehicles on both sides there. There is room to park along 6th Street with there's like an 8 or 9 foot shoulder on each side, which is pretty much full with vehicles every day. So there's definitely a need for parking there. But in terms of Dale Street, we did look at the width of Dale Street. It is 20 feet wide, which is a little bit narrower, but we don't have a lot of traffic going down Dale Street, obviously. So there's not a huge concern with the parking issue in terms of from anything engineering department would look at. We do have other streets in town that are very narrow and we don't have any prohibited parking on. So this is kind of another one of those. We could prohibit it maybe on one side. little tentative on prohibiting things where if there's a demonstrated need for parking, like, would that be something we'd want to look at maybe a little bit deeper? But other than that, yeah, there's really nothing for engineering department to add other than all that, so.
Questions, comments by committee or anyone else?
Just a general comment that I feel for other businesses in the area, whether it be Quick Trip or Steve's Plumbing or any of the residents there that are impacted by the current construction that's going on. But I don't believe that the point of this referral was to discuss how we can make parking at Steve's Plumbing or Quick Trip better, or find other places for these people to park. It's making a decision that allows a business in our area to thrive after they've invested in making our community to look better. So I am completely supportive and would make a motion to approve having either no parking on that section of Dale Street on either side between business hours, or having a 2-hour parking restriction.
We'd have to clarify which way, 2-hour or during business hours. I would be in favor of business hours myself. I think Madeline said it well. Obviously, it's a car dealership, which is relying on that visibility. And, you know, they chose that location, obviously, because of its, the visibility there from the Riverview Expressway. Again, I understand the parking woes that are going on right now in that area, but, you know, hopefully, you know, with Lincoln Street construction wrapping up soon, and maybe that clears up a little bit, maybe not. But there are definitely other places to park, and not inhibit the business of N&M. So, your motion, can you repeat it?
Motion to revise the parking ordinance restricting parking between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on the, is that the north and south side of Dale Street?
Do we want to
Just-
exclude
Oh, I'm sorry.
exclude Sixth Street from that? Just
I would
Dale?
I would exclude 6th Street. Right now, that is beyond.
May I say something?
Yes.
So Sixth Street is what's started the whole issue with them parking in front of our vehicles. We've got the greenery right outside of Quick Trip. Right now, there is a banner that will be a sign that's a ground sign, basically. We're hoping this fall, once all of our signage gets approved. So when there's vehicles parked in front of that, that will obviously block our sign. Also, we have basically 2 parking stalls over there that face the exit of Quick Trip, which is on 6th Street. And if vehicles are parked in front of those, they block that.
Parking wouldn't be permitted in front of any driveway, right?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Motion to restrict parking from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the north and west side of Dale Street, and to restrict parking on the east side of 6th Street, 81 feet from Dale Street to Dewey Street.
Okay, that was north and south of Dale Street, right?
Yes.
And if I could clarify, 170 feet looks like the lot length along Dale Street. Is that the extent that we would go along Dale?
That would put us to the edge of the current lot.
Correct.
And the vision, if then people were to park on the remainder of Dale Street, I don't want to come back and have to revise this again. Nathan, if people were to park on the other side of where we're restricting that parking, would that impact the view of vehicles for your business?
In front of what area?
So there's 171 feet, which is your current lot. If we restrict parking there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., then people could park from the end of your lot up in front of the building on the west side of Dale Street.
We don't, we obviously don't advertise any vehicles there. That's more so parking for the customers, so that should be fine.
Okay. Then it would be 171 feet.
Okay, so we have a motion to restrict parking on Dale Street, north and south side, for 171 feet from 6th Street and 71 feet along 6th Street. I'll second that motion. Is there any further discussion?
It was 81 feet, I'm sorry.
$81 feet on 6th Street?
Yes.
Okay, I'll consent to amend my motion as well. So, motion, second, any further discussion? As long as we don't have any discussion, we'll go to vote. All in favor, respond with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it. All right, moving on. Item 4, review the intersection study at Rosewood Ave and 15th Place South. Go ahead, Nick.
So, we've completed a intersection, study at 15th and Rosewood, due to some concerns with speeding through the intersection, some safety concerns with, drivers not yielding at the, uncontrolled intersection there. So we started, doing a little bit of a background check and, looked at the accidents, the history of the accidents at the intersection, and found that there was one accident, one collision at the intersection in the last 10 years, I believe it was. And so we looked at that. We set up our traffic counter and took a look at the vehicle volumes, the vehicle speeds at the intersection. We found that Rosewood had about 168 vehicles per day, and 15th Place had about 121 vehicles per day. This was, I believe we set it up for a week at for each street, looking down Rosewood and then looking down 15th. And then we also found that the average speed was 20 miles per hour approximately. Also, while we were out in the field, we did notice a couple of vision obstructions, couple minor vision obstructions. I believe it was 2 trees, one in the northwest corner, one in the southwest corner, that had lower branches that would affect the vision at the intersection. So we do have some pictures in the referral from each leg of the intersection. But after looking at the background with the accidents and doing our study in the field, we kind of compared it to our chart that we use. It's kind of our policy that is closely related to the MUTCD, which is the Manual and Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Streets and Highways. And so the chart is in the referral, and so we highlighted each item that we looked at. So in order to have a yield sign be considered in regards to the amount of volume of traffic, we generally look at about 1,000 vehicles per day, and we had about 300 at all legs of the intersection. And then we did notice some minor obstructions with the vision triangle, like I mentioned. So that is something to consider a yield sign. However, we generally look at trying to take care of those vision issues before we would change any signing. So that's kind of what we looked at with that. The amount of accidents that a yield sign would possibly help with, we found that there was just the one accident in the last 10 years, and normally we look at least 2 accidents within the last 12 months before we maybe recommend a yield sign there. And then in terms of street classification, both streets are local. So again, that's, would lean toward the no control, as it is right now. So generally, we look at least 2 of the 5 items that would steer us toward a yield sign being required before we would really look into it a little bit further. But at this point, we'd recommend just leaving it signed as is and maybe cleaning up the visibility at those couple of corners where there's some obstructions with the vision there.
Thank you, Nick. Mel?
I just wanted to make a comment on the usefulness of this type of study. It's much easier to explain to residents when they say there's people driving through really fast when we have data to say that it's only 20 miles an hour on average. So I appreciate the effort that went into this, and I will follow up with the resident and give them a copy and let them know that this was the determination. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, no action on item 3, or sorry, item 4. We'll move on to item 5, the review the referral list.
Believe item 10 can be removed.
Item 10 can go away. Looks like everything else is in progress or on hold for the time being. Any referrals to speak to?
Mr. Chair, on your item number 9, I want to talk to you. I'd like to bring that back up to committee for another discussion. And I talked to Jeff on it this morning, and he agreed too that it would not be a bad idea. And I'll explain more to you after the meeting.
Okay.
I did get a phone call from a person from the motorcycle.
Okay, Nick, are you able to bring that back to life, or do we need to submit another referral?
That's a good question. I mean, we can certainly just look at it, I would assume, being that we've already done it before. So it's not a big deal on our part to look at it. I discuss it with Joe and just see what the,
Okay, yeah, if we're able, let's try to get it back on an agenda for next month or the following. All right, anything else? Okay, item 6 is set the next meeting date. So it looks like the 3rd is our day for October. Anybody have an issue with October 3rd, 5 p.m.? Nick, you want to pencil us in for that then, please? And then item 7, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor, respond with aye. Aye. All right, thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.